Merci, Monsieur le Vice-Président. Mr. Vice President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I will present to you today two reports under Agenda Item 7. I will begin with the High Commissioner's report on Israeli settlements in the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem and in the occupied Syrian Golan, submitted pursuant to Human Rights Council Resolution 55/32. The report covers the period between 1 November 2023 and 31 October 2024. Last July, the International Court of Justice issued an advisory opinion stating that Israel's policies and practices in the occupied Palestinian territory, including the maintenance and expansion of settlements, amount to the annexation of large parts of that territory. This undermines the territorial integrity essential to the Palestinian people's right to self-determination and violates the prohibition against acquiring territory by force. The ongoing transfer of powers over the occupied Palestinian territory from the Israeli military to the Israeli government is facilitating the continued illegal advancement of Israeli settlements in the West Bank and the steady integration of the occupied West Bank into the State of Israel. The transfer of governing powers also facilitates Israel's provision of services for settlers in settlements and outposts. This will further institutionalize long-standing patterns of systematic discrimination, segregation, oppression, domination, violence, and other inhumane acts against the Palestinian people. It will also further institutionalize control of the occupied Palestinian territory. The August 2024 findings of the Ad hoc Conciliation Commission for the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination stated that the acts of segregation, and I quote, may amount to a situation of apartheid if no action is taken by Israel to effectively address the issues raised, end of quote. Mr. Vice President, Israel took measures to transfer its civilian population to East Jerusalem and to forcibly transfer Palestinians within and from the occupied territory. There are now around 737,000 Israeli settlers in the West Bank, and almost a third of them in East Jerusalem alone. During the reporting period, steps were taken towards construction of 20,000 housing units in new or existing Israeli settlements in East Jerusalem, while 214 Palestinian properties and structures were demolished. Over 10,300 units within existing Israeli settlements in other parts of the West Bank were approved, and 49 new Israeli outposts were established. Israel continued the illegal appropriation of occupied land for Israeli settlements through declarations of state land and the establishment of military zones, nature reserves, and cultural and archaeological sites. An overarching institutional and legal regime of discrimination and oppression, including of forcible evictions and house demolitions, continues to secure the forcible transfer of the Palestinian population across the West Bank. During the reporting period, over 1,700 Palestinian-owned structures were demolished in the West Bank, resulting in the forcible displacement of over 4,500 Palestinians, tripling the monthly average from the previous reporting period. The majority were demolished for reasons of lacking building permits, which are almost impossible for Palestinians to obtain. Mr. Vice President, the report documents how targeting of Palestinians' economic, social, and cultural rights forms part of the coercive environment that induces their departure and may amount to forcible transfer. Livelihoods centered around olive production were particularly targeted by Israeli state and settler violence, during which half of Palestinian farmers were reportedly unable to harvest their trees due to violence and movement restrictions, effectively destroying local Palestinian economies. Mr. Vice President, the line between settler and state violence has blurred. During the reporting period, 1,400 settler-related incidents resulted in casualties or property damage against Palestinians. By the end of October 2024, settler violence incident had reached 118 per month on average, up from 108 in 2023. Settler violence killed 11 Palestinians and injured 500. Israel systematically fails to prevent or punish these attacks, leaving Palestinians bereft of any hope of obtaining justice and accountability. In a study of 174 incidents of settler violence, 65 complaints were lodged, and only one has led to the filing of an indictment. During the reporting period, approximately 680 Palestinians were forcibly displaced by settler violence access restrictions, mainly in Bedouin and other herding communities in Area C. In many cases, this may amount to forcible transfer, which is a crime under international law that may give rise to individual criminal responsibility. The report before you also documents Israeli settlement expansion in the occupied Syrian Golan, which continued to proceed with the support of the Israeli government in violation of its international legal obligations. Israeli authorities also continued to restrict the ability of the Syrian population to build or expand on their land, in particular in Majd al-Shams, close to the demarcation line with the Syrian Arab Republic. The report recalls Resolution 497 of 1981, in which the Security Council decided that the Israeli decision to impose its laws, jurisdiction, and administration on the occupied Syrian Golan is null and void and without international legal effect. Mr. Vice President, Israeli settlement growth continues at an ever-increasing rate, and as found by the International Court of Justice, constitutes ongoing internationally wrongful acts by Israel. This represents a profound failure of the international community of states and its rules-based order, including in relation to the prohibitions on annexation and discrimination, as well as to the fulfillment of Palestinians' right to self-determination. The High Commissioner for Human Rights recommends again that Israel cease immediately all new settlement activity, evacuate all settlers from the occupied Palestinian territory, and make reparations for the damage caused by decades of illegal settlement.